On the 6th of December 2023, Locomotive Rail Leasing 37407 and Harry Needle owned 37607 top and tail the Free Juliet 40 Renford to Renford railhead treatment train through Bexley Junction. By the 6th of December 2023, the LRL operated RHTT diagram had suffered a relatively rocky start, mainly due to locomotive availability. Here, Home Fleet Loco 37407 and hired in 37607 depart Renford with Free Juliet 40. 607 had been hired in to cover for the failure of 2304 and the general unavailability of the company's Class 68s. Also hired in earlier in the season was Rydal Rail's Class 37, 37429. After reversing at Giles Mount, the train heads towards Seaford. The train will reverse here at Seaforth, and then it will head towards the single track line towards St Ashcart. On this occasion, the train suffered a fault at St Ashcart and had to stay there overnight, and would return to Renford under 3 Zulu 37 the next day. The 8th of December marked the final day of the RHTT season. Because of this, 37428, the final remaining spare loco of the LRLT pool, was lashed up in between 37407 and the wagons. Despite being under Free Juliet 40, the train differed from its booked pathing many times during this run. For example here, the train covered the chord to Gothland first, and then reversed back. After getting signal checked, the train departs Falkingham for Renford. After reversing at Renford, the train now heads for Giles. Running a bit late due to the unexpected trip to Goughlin, the train now passes Newington Harbour, bound for Seaforth. Seen at Burley St George is 37607 leading the train back down from Seaforth, now on its way back to Giles Mount. You can hardly tell that 3748 carries intercity. Due to a point failure at Giles, the train was rerouted through Minestow Freight Yard. After waiting for a passing train, 607 leads the train onto the single-track section at Sellercroft. In the final days of the season, the train would regularly pass Sellercroft and then reverse at Hestercombe Works. Today was no exception, and 407 is seen leading the train past Sellercroft once again. Passing Giles again, the train will now cover the branch to Lanfield North. Some might say that the use of 37s on the Lanfield North branch is a rarity. However, this run was the first time that a trio of 37s had ever been up the Lanfield North branch. We're standing at the station on the out-of-use tram lines that ran around Lanfield as 607 leads the train back to Garn. At Giles, the train will depart for Renford for the last time. Once returning to Renford, 37607 will be taken off the set and 68135 and 136 will be added. Once added, 37407 and 428 lead the set and the 68s on the 6 Zulu 37 Renford to Hestercombe Works. After dropping off the set, a still filthy 37428 and 37407 lead the 68s on the 0 Zulu 38 Hestercombe Works to Saltmarsh TMD. On the 8th of December, a rare sight was seen of Class 4106 being used to haul an engineer's train on 6 Zulu 40 Ashcott Quarry to Hestercombe Works sidings. RRL Rail Limited, known as RRL, have their base of operations at Baxton TMD, and like LRL, most of their fleet consists of veteran Class 37s. On the 27th of March 2024, two Class 37s were dispatched on 5 Zulu 37 to operate an inspection train from Baxton LMD to Baxton LMD. This working operated via the Gothland Loop circuit, down to Fatherwell and back. Providing haulage towards Fatherwell is 37670 St Blaise, with 37429 trailing on the rear. Here the pair are seen passing Mindstow, heading towards Giles. After getting a green signal at Giles, 37670 makes a hasty departure towards Lanfield. 37670 is part of the batch of Class 375s. This class were updated in a similar fashion to the 374 subclass, except they did not receive electric train heating, and some were fitted with sandite ports. The pair of RRL tractors are seen again, still en route to Fatherwell via Barcy. Changing ends at Fatherwell sees 37429 providing haulage to Baxton. A pair of 37s are now seen approaching a red at Lanfield to await an oncoming passenger train. Back to the year 2023, specifically the 25th of November, RRL were contracted to deliver a large amount of timber to Baxton Docks for transportation overseas. This required two separate workings, 6 Zulu 37 and 6 Zulu 70. RRL's 37671 was dispatched to work 6 Zulu 37, while 6 Zulu 70 required a hiring due to a shortage of traction. The hire-in was supplied by HBRF, and Class 70-70012 Skyfall is seen working 6 Zulu 70 Crellicombe to Baxton Docks passing Morsford. Six Zulu 70 is now seen passing through Giles Mount. The train shall then spur off to the left and travel via Mindstow Freight Yard before reaching its final destination at Baxton. Later that night, the rather noisy 37671 Tripolin pen is seen working 6 Zulu 37 Krellicombe to Baxter. It is relatively rare to see logging runs being hauled by a single class 37. 37671 now takes the line towards Landfield, passing through Barset. At the entrance to Baxton Docks, 37671 has to halt at the stopboard and whistle before proceeding. This is so that the train can gain permission to proceed over the non-gated crossing. Our final shot of 6 Zulu 37 sees the train pulling up beside 6 Zulu 70 at the terminal. The staff at Baxton Docks kindly permitted us to film these rare scenes. On the 22nd of December 2023, the St.Durleigh Sprinter Railtour was taken by a Class 201 Hastings thumper unit. This service ran from Giles Mount to St Durleigh's Crossing, covering sections of line that railtours wouldn't usually go down. Here, 1001 is seen passing through Baxton en route to St Durleigh. (1001) or 201-001 is now seen approaching Sellercroft, where it will halt and await an oncoming passenger train. clear, the thumper can then proceed onto the single track section towards Brimsley. As the train climbs further up towards St Ashcot, the tour was treated by a snowfall. Here the train is seen passing through Ashbury in glorious fashion. (1001) used to operate the London Charing Cross to Hastings route under British Rail between 1957 and 1986. It was restored to its former glory and returned to mainline operation 10 years later in 1996. The unit is now owned and preserved by the Hastings Diesel Limited. Stonycombe offers excellent vantage points to see trains round the curve towards St.Durleigh. 201-001 is no exception and is seen powering through the station. Later that night, the unit is seen on its return trip coming off the speed restriction of the bridge at King's Ash Road. Snowy scenes at St Ashcot as the unit is brought to a stand once again in the platform to await a passenger train. Making use of the passing points at stations is essential for a line like this. Our final scenes of the St.Durleigh Sprinter sees the thumper passing through Ashbury, speeding off into the night. A steady flow of freight is seen at Bestbridge. We now sample workings on a typical weekday and travel back in time to an era before the mass arrival of the General Motors Class 66s. The weekly Kingsbury to Baxton oil train is seen behind the usual GBRF Class 66 power. Westlake Power Station is served by both DB and Freightliner. Here a Freightliner 70 is seen on the way to Westlake with imported coal from Tyne. $67,002 passes with an Enterprise working for Minestow Yard. Sneaking round the corner is 66,513 with an intermodal working from Southampton. The slow speed was to allow the passenger train in the station to clear the section, as stopping the 1,600 tonne train would be less than ideal. Back in the autumn of 1990, first-generation classes were seen in abundance. A pair of 31s work the 6D71 loaded tanks through Ashcott. "1991 saw a handful of Cromptons still in service, usually working in pairs on Enterprise traffic to Minestow and Renford yards. 1988 saw a flow of China clay workings to Baxton Docks. This is the return working of empties seen departing Gofflin behind 37673. This flow ceased in the early 1990s, and the wagons were subsequently withdrawn from service. MGR workings to and from the power station at Westlake were in the hands of Class 20s until 1993, when the Class 60s then took over. By 1996, the 20s and HAA wagons were gone. In their place was National Power Class 59s with the new JHA hoppers. Here, empties take the line to Leafminster. Class 33s on Enterprise workings had been steadily replaced by EWS Class 73s. Here 73128 leads a working from Minestow. Another Enterprise working, and another from Minestow Yard, this time led by Regional Railways liveried 37414. Class 58s was still a common sight. Here 58022 works the daily Renford Yard to Eastleigh Departmental. Now a final view at Dovey of 37414 returning en route to Renford Yard. Back in the present now for a few final views. Following National Power's demise in 2001, EWS took over the MGRs to Westlake. Today, DB still handle the main flow, with Freightliner handling secondary flows of imported coal. Approaching from north is 70008, with coal from Tyne. Although booked for a Class 66, Class 70s have been appearing on this train. Another Freightliner 70, this time on a loaded car train bound for Baxton. (66.001) passes through Barcy with the 4L45 Wakefield to Felixstowe. Finally, a real rarity. The unavailability of a DB Class 66 led to 67.004 and 67.018, leading the 4E96 Moss End to Tees dock liner. The Marstem Vale Heritage Railway has its main headquarters at Dovey Junction, a station in which is shared with the GCR main line. It is also complemented by its mainline link, allowing the railway to hire in visiting locomotives such as this one, number 925 Cheltenham, on loan from the Mid-Hants Railway. Marstem Firth is the midway point of the line and is the main point where trains pass each other on busy days. 925 approaches the station on an afternoon service for Chestergate. In the opposite direction with the train bound for Dovey Junction is prototype Class 53 Falcon number 1200. This is one of many new build projects that have actually been successful. The end of the line is at Chestergate, with trains travelling further down the extended section to Portcombe on special occasions. The MVHR plans to one day ensure that trains become more regular to and from Portcombe. The railway's resident Class 14 diesel paired with visiting Class 20 2118 is seen departing Chestergate with a late afternoon service to Dovey Junction. (37263) has recently been placed on hire to the MVHR from the Telford Steam Railway and can be seen calling at Marstem Firth Platform 2 to await the up train to Chestergate taken by Schools Class number 825 Cheltenham. 37263 returned to traffic on the Telford Steam Railway in 2021 and can be seen travelling to various preserved railways around the country. Number 925 Cheltenham is now seen lineside en route to Marstem Firth, where it will meet 37263. (37263) is now seen departing Marstem Firth for Dovey Junction. On the 20th of February 2024, guests of the MVHR dining experience were treated to a special visitor. Here, famous steam locomotive number 70,000 Britannia is seen pulling into Chestergate with the evening diner. The winter sunset helped set this scene perfectly. On Sunday the 18th of February 2024, the developers of the Roblox Spa Valley Railway held an opening gala event. This gala offered mixed traction scenes, with both steam and diesel locomotives in operation, two of which were visiting. The first visitor to the event comes in the form of number 850 Lord Nelson, seen here on its way to Erridge. The second visitor is now seen departing Erridge with a train bound to Tunbridge Wells. This locomotive is very easily the star guest of the event, number 6013 King Henry. Number 850 Lord Nelson was the first of its class to be built, and is originally based at the Mid-Hants Railway. The class was used on the heaviest and most prestigious services on the Southern Railway, from the outset including the famous Golden Arrow and Bournemouth Belle. At the time of construction, the Lord Nelson class was the most powerful locomotive in Britain. With the lack of run round at Erridge Station, locomotives have to make use of the bay platform. Lord Nelson shunts into the far platform to await its next scheduled service. Arriving with Lord Nelson's train is the one and only diesel operating at the event, 31430 Sister Dora. Number 850 now prepares to back onto the train for the afternoon service. Robert Stevenson and Hawthorne's saddle tank number 62 Ugly was also in operation at the event. This is the workhorse of the Spa Valley Railway and can be seen regularly on steam services. Leaving Groombridge on the afternoon train to Tunbridge Wells West is number 850 Lord Nelson, seen here passing through the stunning Kent countryside. .6013 now is seen battling towards High Rocks with a train bound for Erridge. Later in the afternoon, the Class 31 is seen departing Groombridge with a train for Tunbridge Wells West. As the event draws to a close, special trains start to be assembled. Here, top and tailed steam action with the two visitors, 6013 and 850, en route to Tunbridge Wells West. This is to be the final stopping passenger service of the day before the evening Lodex. A run popular with the enthusiasts is the Gala Lodex. It is seen here departing Tunbridge Wells West on a non-stop run to Erridge. To finish off, we see the Loco Mega Consist passing by Poke Farm en route to Erridge. In December 2023, the Swankard Railway held their annual Santa Special events. The event consisted of a shuttle service operating between Milford-on-Sea and Wellow. Providing haulage for the service was resident Bully Pacific 34042 Dorchester and hired in LRL Class 20-2119. The pair are seen passing over the foot crossing at Hordle. .34042 is one of Oliver Bully's unique streamlined designs. These were appropriately named spam cans by enthusiasts. At the end of the month, the Bullied will be taken out of traffic for overhaul after the expiry of its 10-year boiler ticket. Our final view of the Swankard Santa service sees the spam can pass through Crete Halt en route to Wellow. final day of the LRL RHTT diagrams on the Wherry lines came on the 9th of December 2023. In charge were 37689 and 37683. Seen here passing Brundle Gardens on the 3 Sierra 40 Norwich to Norwich. The set passes Brundle and will take the single track line to Yarmouth via Acle. Normally, the train would stop at Acle for an oncoming passenger train. However, the train had departed from Norwich around 20 minutes early. The train departs Yarmouth with 37683 now leading and will cover the line towards Reedham. Our final view sees the train passing Brundle again, heading back to Norwich. This occasion saw the train only cover Yarmouth and back. On the 3rd of December 2023, 37515 and 37229 were collected from Leeds Barn Road following tyre turning by 37683, which had been temporarily taken out of the RHTT pool following 37428's addition. This is 0M57 Leeds Barn Road to Shirebrook. After dropping off 37515 and 37229, 37683 returns back through Chesterfield on the 0 Zulu 37 Shirebrook TMD to Barra Hill LIP. About an hour later, 683 returns again, this time on the 5 Zulu 38 Barra Hill to Shirebrook with 3 LRL Mark IIs. On the 7th of December, following 37428's return from Norwich, a number of stored Elam and Ashbourne-owned 37s were moved from Shirebrook to the Elam Valley Railway. Along with 428 is Elam-owned 37684, towing 37710, 37520, 37892 and 37698 on the 5 Zulu 37 Shirebrook to Hoo Junction. Now back at Chesterfield, this time on the 31st of December 2023. 37683 and 37689 are seen top and tailing 58037, which had recently been purchased by LRL from the now defunct Buxton Heritage Group. more LRL moves. This time 37229 Royd Moore is seen towing Tunbridge East owned 73126 and 37002 from Old Dalby to Leicester LIP. Moving to Southampton now. Swankage owned 37065 and 37429, currently in the guise of 37300, is seen awaiting the signal on the 0 Zulu 37 Shirebrook to Hordle Junction following 37065's overhaul by LRL, as well as 37429's new bogey sets. During this time, 37610 passes the station on the free Quebec 51 ultrasonic test train. After this, the two 37s are allowed to depart Southampton for Hordle Junction. Hordle Junction is the mainline link for the Swankage Railway, and both 37065 and 37429 are heading back in time for the spring running season. Note the authenticity on 37065's livery, being numbered as Pre-Tops D6765. During early January 2024, LRL made one of its biggest loco purchases in the form of 37702, 37799, 37801, 37883 and 37888, all of which have been stored in Spain since the late 2000s. The locos were gradually moved over the next month or so and ended up at Dollans Moor. An agreement with the EVR has allowed LRL to store all 5 heavyweights on the Heritage Railway for the short term. Here 56109 moves the locos to Elam, where they will be kept. Now a look back to 1986 for a few final views at Penzance. At this time, Class 47s were still the primary motive power for express passenger services. (47401) North Eastern is seen on an intercity working, leaving Penzance for Birmingham New Street. This locomotive is now preserved at the Midland Railway Centre, Butterley. A Paddington to Penzance mail train is now seen arriving, with 47411 providing the haulage. The train will head into the bay platform, where it will unload before being shunted by the Penzance station pilot. Emerging from the early morning sunshine is veteran Class 08 shunter 08056, which was acting as the Penzance station pilot. The shunter is seen moving out of the station sidings to prepare to couple to the coaching stock and free 47411, which is still attached to the rear. .47411 detaches from the rear as the shunter takes the train up to the relief sidings. A now free 47411 heads to the head shunt. .08056 is now seen backing the mail rake into the main platforms at Penzance, ready for 47411 to depart with the next mail service. Our final view of the Class 08 sees the shunter heading back to the station sidings to await its next line of duty. Finally, 47411 is seen approaching the station to connect to the mail set for Paddington. operation of Class 47s in and around the Cornish Main Line is now very much history after the progression of the newer and more modern traction by Hitachi Rail. With the loss of noisy and claggy diesels, some could say that Penzance is a lot less exciting, but at least we still have the memories and archive film to share some light on the subject, all of which can be seen here on VideoSim. Keep an eye out for the next edition of VideoSim, where we take a look at gala action on the Elam Valley Railway, freight archives into the night with Class 66 action at Carlisle, mainline moves with LRL traction, steam tours with classic steam locomotives, a look at freight in the Midlands, a look at traffic on the Island Line with the new 484 stock, steam specials with the world's most famous steam locomotive, Flying Scotsman, various RRL movements with Class 66 haulage, test trains in and around the GCR network, MVHR diesel gala action and much more.